You are making a massive mistake every single day, and you do not even realize it. You think that by talking, explaining yourself, and sharing your life, you are building connections. You think you are showing people who you are. The harsh truth, you are just giving them the exact blueprint on how to destroy you. The more you reveal, the weaker you become. It is a paradox of human nature. We are told to be open books, to speak our truth, to lay our feelings on the table. But look at the men who actually run the world. Look at the men who command the room without lifting a finger. They do not overshare. They do not explain themselves. They operate in the shadows of their own minds. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a concept that will completely alter your reality, a 30-day protocol of absolute strategic silence. For the next 30 days, you are going to reveal absolutely nothing about yourself, nothing about your plans, nothing about your fears, nothing about your past. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why this Stoic practice is the ultimate key to psychological dominance. But before we begin, I want you to go down to the comments and answer this honestly. What is the one piece of personal information you deeply regret sharing with someone? Write it down. Acknowledge the mistake, because after today, you will never make it again. We live in an era of absolute noise. Men today are encouraged to broadcast every single thought, every minor victory, and every petty frustration to the world. You log onto social media, and it is an endless stream of digital validation seeking. We text back instantly. We write paragraphs to justify our actions to people who do not even care about us. We have forgotten the ancient power of containment. The problem is that when you are constantly leaking information about yourself, you become entirely predictable. And in the chess game of life, predictability is a fatal flaw. When people know exactly what triggers you, what excites you, and what scares you, they hold the remote control to your emotions. They can push your buttons at will. This is the root of so much modern anxiety. You feel exposed because you literally are exposed. You have handed the keys of your mind to the public. Modern Stoicism is not about wearing a toga or reciting ancient Greek poetry. It is about emotional sovereignty. It is about drawing a hard line around your internal world and refusing to let anyone cross it without earning the right. We need to reset the baseline. We need to strip away the habit of verbal diarrhea. This is why the 30-day withdrawal is so necessary. It is a psychological detox. It forces you to confront the uncomfortable reality of your own ego, which begs to be seen and heard. By shutting down the flow of information, you reclaim your energy, your mystery, and ultimately, your unshakable power. Most men today walk around with their lives wide open. They tell everyone their plans. They share their fears. They broadcast their insecurities. They think this makes them authentic. They think this builds a genuine connection with others, but they are dead wrong. This is the trap of the open book. When you show all your cards, you give away your leverage. You hand over the keys to your psychological fortress. Society tells you to be vulnerable. Society tells you to constantly share your feelings. But look around. Who actually holds the respect? Is it the man who complains about his bad day? Or the man who simply nods, observes, and keeps his inner world entirely to himself? The truth is, people do not respect a man who cannot keep his own secrets. If you cannot contain your own thoughts, why should anyone trust you with theirs? By constantly talking about your life, you're bleeding vital energy. You are diluting your presence in any room you enter. You become predictable. And in the modern world, being predictable means you are weak. It means you are easily manipulated by those around you. This is what separates the elite from the masses. The 1% understand that true power lies in what remains unseen, in what is strategically withheld. The moment you close the book, the dynamic shifts entirely. People are forced to wonder. People are forced to guess. And in that space of uncertainty, your power begins to multiply. This brings us to the core of the 30-day protocol. For the next 30 days, you are going to reveal absolutely nothing about yourself, nothing about your future plans, nothing about your past failures, nothing about your current struggles. You will become a blank slate. You will become a mirror to the world. When people ask you how you are doing, you will give them a polite, neutral answer. When they ask about your weekend, you will say it was productive and leave it exactly at that. You will not complain about your job. You will not brag about your money. You will stop posting your personal life on the internet. You will stop texting massive paragraphs explaining yourself to people who do not truly care. This is not about being rude or socially awkward. This is not about being completely silent like a monk. It is about strategic withholding. It is about emotional containment. You will still converse. You will still interact and be polite, but the flow of personal, sensitive information stops completely. You are cutting off the supply. Imagine a heavy steel vault. For the next 30 days, the door to that vault is sealed shut. You are the only one with the combination. This sounds incredibly simple on the surface, but I guarantee you it will be one of the hardest psychological tests you have ever undertaken. Your ego will scream to be heard, and that is exactly why you must push through it. What happens when you stop broadcasting your life? You trigger a primal psychological response in the people around you. Humans are fundamentally wired to figure things out. We are natural puzzle solvers. When you constantly talk about yourself, you are a solved puzzle. There is no mystery. There is nothing left to discover or unpack. People get bored and they move on to the next distraction. They take your presence for granted. But the moment you stop providing the answers, you become an unsolved equation. This is the deep psychology of mystery. By revealing nothing, you force people to project their own thoughts and their own insecurities onto you. They will start to wonder what you are really thinking. They will wonder what you are working on behind closed doors. They will wonder why you are so calm when everyone else is panicking. Your silence becomes a vacuum, and human nature dictates that they must attempt to fill that vacuum. Suddenly, you occupy prime real estate in their minds. Without saying a single extra word, you have captured their complete attention. You have become magnetic. This is a profound shift in interpersonal power dynamics. The man who speaks the least always controls the room. His words carry massive weight because they are incredibly rare. When you do finally speak, people will physically lean in. They will listen closely because they know you do not waste your breath on trivial matters. Let us examine the concept of emotional containment. Most men use conversation as a pressure relief valve. Whenever they feel stress, anxiety, or anger, their immediate reaction is to vent. They call a friend, they complain to a coworker, or they post a passive-aggressive update online. They rely on external sources to regulate their internal state. This is a catastrophic flaw in your character. When you vent, you are essentially asking the world to validate your emotional instability. You are outsourcing your mental regulation to other people. The Stoic man does not do this. The Stoic man processes his emotions internally. During these 30 days, when you feel the urge to complain about a setback, you will swallow it. You will sit with the frustration. You will analyze it logically without giving it a voice. This builds incredible emotional resilience. It is like training a muscle under heavy tension. At first, the urge to vent will be overwhelming. Your brain is addicted to the cheap dopamine of sympathy. But as the days pass, you will notice a profound transformation. You will realize that you do not need anyone else to process your problems. You are entirely capable of handling the weight of your own life. This creates a deeply rooted sense of self-reliance. You stop being a burden on your social circle, and instead, you become an immovable pillar of strength. You become the man others look to when chaos strikes. The first week of this challenge will be the most difficult. This is the withdrawal phase. You will experience literal psychological withdrawal symptoms, much like quitting a bad habit. You will sit in meetings or social gatherings, and a conversation will arise where you have a perfectly relevant personal story to share. The impulse to jump in, to center the attention on yourself, will burn in your chest. You will feel an almost physical need to say, "Oh, that happened to me too. Let me tell you about it." You must brutally suppress this urge. Let the silence hang. Let the other person finish their thought without making it about you. During this first week, you will realize just how much of your daily communication is entirely ego-driven. You will see how often you speak simply to prove you exist, to prove you are smart, or to prove you are interesting. Stripping this away will leave you feeling somewhat invisible at first. Your ego will panic. It will tell you that people are forgetting about you. It will tell you that you are losing your edge. Let the ego panic. Let it starve. This discomfort is the feeling of weakness leaving your mind. You are breaking the addiction to external validation. You are learning to exist comfortably in the shadows, observing the world without needing to constantly announce your presence. This first week is the crucible. If you can survive these first 7 days without cracking, you are well on your way to mastery. One of the greatest lies we are sold is the illusion of connection through oversharing. We are told that to build deep relationships, we must bare our souls to everyone we meet. We must trauma dump on the first date. We must tell our coworkers about our childhood issues. This is a modern sickness. True connection is not built on a foundation of unearned intimacy. When you overshare with people who have not earned your trust, you do not build respect. You build pity. You create a false sense of closeness that can be weaponized against you at a moment's notice. True brotherhood, true romance, and true respect are built slowly through shared experiences and proven loyalty, not through rushing to tell your life story. During these 30 days, you will watch how people interact. You will see the desperate attempts to force connection through oversharing. You will observe men spilling their guts to women who are secretly losing respect for them with every word spoken. You will see the stark difference between genuine intimacy and verbal desperation. By holding your cards close to your chest, you elevate your own value. You send a subconscious signal to the world. My inner life is sacred. It is not free for public consumption. If someone wants to know the real you, they must earn the right to access it. And people inherently value what they have to work hard to achieve. You're instantly raising your social market value. There is a dark reality to human nature that Stoicism prepares you for. People will use your words against you. It is not always malicious, but it is a fact of life. When you tell your colleagues about your side business, they will secretly judge your performance at your main job. When you tell a friend about your relationship problems, they will view your partner through a tainted lens forever. When you expose your insecurities to a rival, you have just handed them the exact weapon they need to dismantle your confidence. Everything you say can and will be used as leverage in the subtle power struggles of everyday life. The 30-day silence protocol neutralizes this threat entirely. If you give them nothing, they have nothing to use against you. You become a slippery target. They cannot box you in because they do not know where your boundaries lie. They cannot hit your weak spots because you have hidden them in absolute darkness. This is the defensive power of silence. You are walking through the battlefield in stealth mode. While other men are waving bright flags, yelling their coordinates to the enemy, you are moving quietly, observing the terrain, and gathering intelligence. You will be amazed at how much people will reveal about their own dark motives when you simply shut your mouth and let them talk. They will dig their own graves with their words, while you remain perfectly safe behind the wall of your silence. To master this, you must develop what I call the Stoic filter. Before any piece of personal information leaves your mouth, it must pass through this rigorous mental checkpoint. The filter asks 3 simple questions. Number 1, is sharing this absolutely necessary? Number 2, does sharing this improve my position, or does it weaken it? Number 3, has the person I am talking to proven their loyalty enough to hold this information? For the next 30 days, the answer to these questions will almost always lead to silence. The Stoic filter forces you to pause between the impulse to speak and the act of speaking. In that brief, crucial pause lies all of your power as a man. It is the gap between reaction and response. Most men operate purely on reaction. A thought enters their brain, and it immediately falls out of their mouth. They have zero friction between their internal impulses and their external environment. By building this filter, you're installing a high-security firewall in your mind. You will start to catch yourself mid-sentence. You will learn the art of the subtle pivot, smoothly changing the subject when someone tries to pry into your personal affairs. You will become a master of the non-committal answer. Things are going well. How about you? This simple phrase is an impenetrable shield. It is polite, it is professional, and it gives them absolutely zero ammunition. The Stoic filter keeps your empire entirely secure. Let us talk about the difference between presence and noise. Many men confuse the two. They think that to be noticed, to have a strong presence, they must be the loudest guy in the room. They must dominate the conversation, crack the most jokes, and constantly interrupt others to insert their opinions. This is not presence. This is just noise. It is annoying, and it reeks of deep insecurity. True presence is heavy. True presence is felt, not heard. Think of a lion in the savannah. He does not need to roar constantly to prove he is dangerous. His mere physical presence, his calm observation, is enough to demand absolute respect from every creature around him. When you adopt this 30-day rule of revealing nothing, you transition from making noise to cultivating true presence. You will learn to sit back in your chair, maintain strong eye contact, and simply listen. You will stop fidgeting. You will stop rushing to fill awkward silences. You will let the silence stretch out, comfortable in the tension. You will find that people start looking to you for approval. Because you are not desperately throwing your words out into the crowd, your quiet demeanour becomes the centre of gravity in the room. This is the mark of a truly powerful man. He does not demand attention. He commands it silently. Your aura will shift from chaotic and needy to grounded, dangerous and profoundly self-assured. During this process, you will inevitably redefine your inner circle. When you stop oversharing, you will quickly discover who your real friends are and who were simply using you for entertainment. There are people in your life right now who only keep you around because you provide them with drama. They love to hear about your problems because it makes them feel better about their own miserable lives. They feed on your chaotic emotional state. When you implement the 30-day protocol, you cut off their food supply. You will notice that certain people suddenly lose interest in you. They will stop calling. They will complain that you have become distant or boring. Let them walk away. They were never your brothers. They were emotional parasites. On the flip side, you will see who truly respects you. The high-value individuals in your life will not pry. They will notice your newfound stoicism, and they will respect the boundary. They will appreciate the calm, grounded energy you now bring to the table. By revealing nothing, you act as a massive filtration system for your social life. You purge the gossipers, the emotional vampires, and the weak-minded individuals who thrive on chaos. What you are left with is a lean, powerful network of individuals who respect silence, value action over words, and understand the unspoken codes of elite, masculine conduct. You elevate your environment by elevating your boundaries. As you enter the second week, you will witness the anxiety of the unknown taking hold of the people around you. Human beings are deeply uncomfortable with silence and ambiguity. When they cannot read you, they panic. If you have a boss, a romantic partner, or a rival who is used to knowing your every move, your sudden lack of disclosure will drive them crazy. They will try to poke and prod. They will ask leading questions. They might even try to provoke an emotional reaction out of you, just to get a read on your state of mind. You must remain an absolute fortress. Do not take the bait. When someone tries to provoke you, look at them with a calm, deadpan expression and offer a slight smile. The psychological dominance this establishes is staggering. You are communicating that their petty games do not affect your baseline reality. You are untouched by their chaos. This anxiety they feel is not your problem. It is a reflection of their own lack of control. By remaining perfectly unreadable, you force them to act carefully around you. They will second-guess their manipulative tactics. They will start to treat you with a cautious, heightened level of respect. They will realize that the old tricks no longer work on you. You have rewritten the rules of engagement, and you are entirely in control of the board. The less they know, the more they fear you, and the more they respect you. This brings us to a crucial skill you will develop: listening like a predator, not prey. Most men listen like prey. They listen just enough to find a gap in the conversation so they can jump in and talk about themselves. They are not actually absorbing information. They are just waiting for their turn to speak. The Stoic man, especially during this 30-day protocol, listens like a predator. Because you are not focused on what you are going to say next, all of your cognitive energy is freed up to observe the other person. You start noticing the micro-expressions. You notice the nervous habits. You hear the inconsistencies in their stories. You begin to read between the lines and understand their true motivations. You are gathering vital intelligence. While they are busy running their mouths, desperate to fill the silence you have created, they are handing you all the keys to their psychological makeup. They are showing you their insecurities. They are revealing what they truly value and what they deeply fear. You become a master reader of human nature. This is an elite skill possessed by top negotiators, interrogators, and leaders. You realize that information is the most valuable currency in the world. By keeping your own information locked away and absorbing everything the world gives you, you create an incredibly asymmetrical advantage. You know everything about them, and they know absolutely nothing about you. Let us talk about controlling the narrative by not having one. In today's society, everyone is obsessed with their personal brand. They want to control how people perceive them by constantly broadcasting their achievements, their struggles, and their manufactured identities. They spin elaborate narratives about who they are. The problem with building a narrative is that you constantly have to defend it. If you tell the world you are a ruthless hustler, you have to keep proving it. If you tell the world you are a victim, you have to keep finding things to be offended by. It is an exhausting, never-ending performance. The Stoic strategy is entirely different. You refuse to give them a narrative at all. You step off the stage entirely. By revealing nothing, you detach yourself from the exhausting game of public perception. You no longer care what they think your story is, because you are not participating in the storytelling. You are just living. You are taking relentless action in silence. This frees up massive amounts of mental bandwidth. You are no longer wasting hours agonizing over how a text message makes you look or how an Instagram post will be received. You drop the heavy armor of your public persona and find immense freedom in the shadows. The only narrative that matters is the raw, undeniable results you produce in the real world. Let your actions make all the noise while your mouth remains completely shut. By week 3, you will cross a major psychological threshold, the threshold of emotional invulnerability. Because you have spent weeks not seeking validation, not explaining yourself, and not reacting to provocations, you will realize that other people's opinions simply cannot touch you anymore. When you do not offer pieces of yourself to the world has nothing to attack. If someone criticizes you, it bounces off, because they are criticizing a phantom. They do not know the real you. They only know the blank slate you have presented to them. Therefore, their insults are entirely meaningless. They are punching at shadows. This realization brings an overwhelming sense of peace. The heavy burden of caring what others think evaporates. You become emotionally bulletproof. You will start to navigate the world with a cool, detached amusement. You will watch people lose their minds over trivial office politics or social media drama, and you will feel like an adult watching children argue over toys. You are operating on a completely different frequency. This emotional invulnerability is the core of modern Stoicism. It is not about feeling nothing. It is about ensuring that no external force has the power to dictate your internal weather. You are the sole architect of your mood. You are the absolute master of your own domain. This level of stoic detachment is what makes a man truly unstoppable in the pursuit of his goals. As you move into the final stages of the 30 days, you will tap into the elite mindset of withholding. You will start to view your personal information, your energy, and your attention as highly exclusive resources. You do not just hand $1 million to a stranger on the street. Why would you hand over your deepest thoughts and plans to people who have not earned them? You begin to treat your inner world like a highly guarded VIP room. The velvet rope is up, and very few people are on the list. This mindset shift changes how you carry yourself. You walk taller. You make slower, more deliberate movements. You speak with a deeper, more resonant tone. Because you hold yourself in high regard, the world has no choice but to follow suit. You will find that people start treating your time with more respect. They will not bother you with petty gossip. They will approach you only when they have something of substance to say. You have effectively trained the people around you to raise their own standards before they interact with you. This is how you cultivate an aura of prestige. Prestige is not bought with designer clothes or expensive cars. Prestige is generated internally through the rigorous application of boundaries. The man who is difficult to know is the man everyone secretly wants to figure out. You have transformed from an accessible commodity into a rare, highly valued asset. One of the most immediate benefits you will notice by the end of week 3 is the total elimination of drama from your life. Drama requires 2 things to survive: fuel and oxygen. The fuel is gossip, complaints, and emotional reactions. The oxygen is communication. When you implement the protocol of revealing nothing, you cut off both the fuel and the oxygen. Drama simply cannot survive in a vacuum of silence. If someone comes to you trying to start an issue and you respond with a blank stare and a non-committal nod, the fire dies instantly. They have nothing to push against. You are like water. Their attacks simply pass through you. Think about how much time and energy you have wasted in the past trying to resolve pointless conflicts, arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding you, or defending your reputation against baseless rumours. That era of your life is over. By stepping out of the arena of petty communication, you reclaim hundreds of hours of mental processing power. You can now redirect all of that aggressive, masculine energy toward things that actually matter. Building your wealth, optimizing your physical body, sharpening your mind. The elimination of drama is not just a relief, it is a tactical advantage. While your competitors are exhausted from fighting invisible battles, you are focused, rested, and aggressively executing your grand strategy. By week 4, you are becoming untouchable. The 30 days are almost complete, but you will realize something profound. You never want to go back to the way you were. The open book you used to be feels incredibly weak and foolish in hindsight. You have tasted the power of the shadows, and it is intoxicating. You have seen how people fold under the pressure of your silence. You have experienced the deep clarity of a quiet mind. The habit of oversharing has been entirely burned out of your system. You now operate with a default setting of strategic withholding. You understand that silence is not just an absence of speech. It is a heavy, physical tool that you can wield to control any situation. If a negotiation is stalling, you use silence to make the other party uncomfortable and force a concession. If a woman is testing your frame, you use silence to show her that her chaotic energy does not move you. If a superior is unjustly criticizing you, you use silence to project unyielding confidence without being insubordinate. You have integrated the core principle of Stoic power. He who needs the least from the outside world controls the outcome. You do not need their validation, you do not need their understanding, and you certainly do not need to explain yourself to them. You are a self-contained unit of absolute force. Let us address the fear of isolation. A weak man might hear this entire strategy and think, but if I do not share anything, I will be completely alone. No one will know me. This is the voice of cowardice. It is the voice of a man who bases his entire identity on being perceived by others. The Stoic path is not about total isolation. It is about extreme selectivity. When you finish these 30 days, you do not remain a mute ghost forever. You simply change the rules of access. You will still build relationships, but they will be on your terms. You will still share pieces of yourself, but only with the 0.1% of people who have bled for you, who have proven their absolute loyalty over years, not days. And even with them, you maintain a core reserve of inner sovereignty. You never give away the final key to your mind. Every great leader, every conquering general, and every elite thinker in history maintained this inner sanctum. It is where they retreated to make the hard decisions that no one else could understand. If you fear being alone with your own thoughts, you have much bigger problems than oversharing. You must learn to become your own best counsel. The isolation you fear is actually the sanctuary where your greatest strength is forged. Embrace the quiet. Let the masses have their noisy, shallow connections. You are building an empire of one. As we reach the conclusion of the 30-day protocol, you must focus on the final integration into your permanent identity. This is not a temporary challenge you do for internet points. This is a fundamental rewiring of your psychological operating system. The man who started this challenge is dead. He was talkative, anxious, easily read, and desperate for approval. The man who emerges on day 30 is a different breed entirely. He is a Volt. He is calm, methodical, observant, and fiercely independent. He speaks only when his words can improve upon the silence. He moves through the chaotic modern world like a ghost walking through walls. Nothing sticks to him. No one can trap him. To integrate this, you must continually monitor your filter. The world will constantly try to pull you back into the noise. People will try to bait you into arguments. Social media algorithms will try to trigger your outrage. You must view all of these things as tests of your Stoic frame. Every time you successfully withhold a reaction, every time you choose silence over petty engagement, you level up. You harden the armor. You solidify your position as a man of the 1%. The power you hold now is invisible, but it is absolute. You have mastered the hardest opponent you will ever face, your own compulsion to be heard. Remember this fundamental truth. Your mind is the only true territory you will ever own. In a world that is constantly trying to strip away your privacy, your data, and your attention, your inner thoughts are the last bastion of true freedom. When you give away your thoughts freely, you are allowing invaders into your territory. The 30-day challenge of revealing nothing is about rebuilding the walls of your kingdom. It is about posting guards at the gates of your mind. It is a declaration of ultimate psychological independence. You are telling the universe that you are enough. You do not need the applause of the crowd to know your worth. You do not need the sympathy of your peers to handle your pain. You endure in silence. You conquer in silence. And you let the results speak with a deafening roar. As you move forward from today, let this be your guiding principle. Be the watcher. Be the listener. Be the unsolved mystery in a world full of open books. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them fear what they do not understand. While they are busy talking, you are busy building. The shift in your life will be nothing short of revolutionary. You will command respect effortlessly, simply because you refuse to give them the one thing they expect, yourself. The 30 days start the moment this video ends. You are no longer the man who leaks his energy to the world. You are a fortress. You are an unsolved puzzle. You are the architect of your own silence. The path of the elite 1% is not crowded, because most men do not have the discipline to shut their mouths and face themselves in the dark. But you are not most men. You are here because you demand mastery over your own mind. Silence is your ultimate shield against manipulation and your sharpest sword in the pursuit of power. Thank you for joining me in this pursuit of greatness. If you are truly committing to this protocol, if you are ready to vanish into the shadows and rebuild yourself, leave a comment below saying simply, "The vault is closed." Do not explain it. Do not elaborate. Let the weak wonder what it means. Subscribe to the channel if you belong among the elite, and until next time, stay quiet, stay focused, and remain untouchable.